All right. Again, I would like to thank everybody for coming and making some time for today's session. Unfortunately, Lisa will not be joining us for today as she is traveling. And I apologize for my voice at the moment. I'm still recovering from being sick, but I'll try to make sure that I can deliver, um, you know, this surprise gift of health for this month. And so we're when I started Berea, working with Lisa, I think I want to start with I think everything happens for a reason because at first I didn't know what purpose I had when I first started working with Lisa. And then as I grew, knowing more about Lisa's activities with Ari, and then I got to know Mark, and then I got to know Alicia and everybody else. Um, each session or each episode with Ari got me closer to being cautious in the most healthy way. And each session kind of makes me more um, you know cautious and being reflective on what I eat, what I do, and I kind of share that with family as well, outside. So, and I want to thank each and everybody here, especially all the guest speakers that we had over the couple 2 years that I've been working with Lisa for Ari, is that I learned so much. I've learned a lot of the healthy ways, and um, the types of food, the types of oil, even the simplest things. That even the simplest things, like I learned that sugar is way better than the typical stevia, the powdered stevia. That tiny detail means a lot because um, the sharing those type of knowledge to people like me that doesn't know uh, those type of details kind of makes a lot of difference when it comes to health in the family. So I created this with Lisa's vision, and I want to share it with everybody, with all the topics that we have covered for this year, and I hope you guys like it. And please feel free to share any insights, any comments, and personal experiences that you might have had as well over the years here for going through each episode here in Ari. We're very, this is an open discussion for everybody. So hope you guys like it. So this is an ebook, but I am currently opening a PDF version, and each one will have a copy of it that you can access online through the website. And at the end of the session, I will send you a direct link to it, and you will see that at the beginning you will see a thank you note to each and everybody who has become a big contributor to the success of Ari. And of course, we cannot forget to thank all the guest speakers. And we look forward to having each and single one of the guest speakers again soon in the future. And hopefully that we can acquire more guest speakers as we grow. So for this year, we had Teresa, Cynthia, Dr. Debbie, we had Greg, Gary, Bitosh, and Allison, Dr. Annika, and Ashley. So if you remember in January, we talked about clinical trials, the importance on the clinical research, because each study is most especially to underrepresented underrepresented communities. Each body reacts differently to the type of drugs, even with the different illnesses. So the clinical trials are very important um, in making sure that the amount, even the dosage of drugs and the type of treatment given to each type of individual is given appropriately. And I'm not sure if Cynthia or Alicia or anyone in the group would like to share anything about this um, pertaining to the importance and the essence of clinical trials real quick. Maybe just a few minutes to share.
So this is Cynthia. I did my dissertation on underrepresented communities and how we participate and do we even get offered to participate in clinical trials. This is a really, really important topic. And this is important for our communities because often, as I always talk about, make sure you know what you're taking, but then also question your doctor. Is there something new that I could take? Is it something else that has been studied that will work differently for my body because I'm having these side effects? Don't ignore these side effects. We talked the last time I was talking about some of these drugs that the physicians prescribe are older drugs. Well, question them about newer drugs. Question them about what is a clinical trial? How could I participate? Why is this important? It's important so that we can have the knowledge because everybody's body is different. And if you study um, groups that are so not heterogeneous, then what ends up happening, these studies are approved without being a part of the research. And so that's all I want to say about the topic.
Thank you for that, Cynthia.
I'm gonna
And
add, I
uh
will add one or two things too.
yes,
So
yes,
we know that there are several benefits for participating in clinical trials. So definitely, access to cutting edge treatment. So we know that participants may gain access to new therapies, treatments, and medical devices not yet available to the public. And we know that early access can be particularly beneficial for those patients or participants. And in conditions to what standard treatments are, where standard treatments are ineffective. So, I mean, it's really, really, important that patients understand this. And then we know that participating in clinical trials, patients have high quality medical care. So not only are they getting the care from, providers, but then they're getting detailed medical attention from the leading health professionals and researchers throughout the study. So not only the standard monitoring, they're getting additional monitoring on top of that. And then, of course, we know that participating in clinical trials contribute to the advancement in science. So those are just, and then personal benefits. Participants might have improvement in their condition due to, these treatments. And of course, it provides an opportunity to actively engage in managing, one's health and treatment options. So I wanted to provide that because it's just so important that we get engaged and educate our community about clinical trials and the benefits of that.
thank you for that, Dr. Debbie. Yes, Belinda. Oops, you're on mute. Belinda, hit that mic icon one more time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a quick question about that. Should we participate in clinical trials if we're not on any type of medication or at the time we're not having any particular concerns or issues that need to be addressed? Should we still ask our primary care about what exists and how we can serve?
I think the answer to that is it doesn't always have to be about a drug, right?
Okay.
It could be about is there anything facing you that would stop you from participating in clinical research? Because that's what I did, right? I wanted to know what hinders, what are the barriers, what are the challenges? Do you even know what a clinical trial is? Do you understand the process? So everything might not be about a drug. It might be just participation in questionnaires, surveys. So sometimes you can ask your physician or ask the nurse navigator or ask the nurse, is there any clinical trials that's open for non-therapeutic or therapeutic treatments, right? So I would say, just ask, or if you're in support groups, is it anything that your support groups have going on? Are they participating in research? Are they, if someone had breast cancer, are they going to the support group? What can we do? What can we share? How can we share? What are our challenges? What are our barriers? There's so many different things that we can participate in, and it might not be about a drug, right?
Okay,
Does
thank
that make
you.
sense?
It does, yes, thank you.
Thank you. So moving on, the for February, we then talked about bridging the healthy equity gap in heart disease, and we had Dr. Annika Hines at this month. She talked about how to maintain a healthy heart, and that is mainly to focus on eating right, make sure that we eat a lot of our greens, fruits, lean meat, whole grains, and then of course we also need to stay active. We have to do that regular exercise, and with healthy sleeping habits. That's one of the important things, and that is to be able to keep um, keep our heart healthy, basically. Um, we need to make sure that we avoid smoking, we avoid those alcohol, um, and make sure that we check in with our doctor, regularly, especially if we have that uh, wrist or any medical condition that would somewhat affect the heart. And by the way, welcome, Mary. So anybody that wants to share a little bit on what you have learned, if you remember this, wait, I know this was way back in February, but I do remember Dr. Annika Hines sharing, the do's and don'ts. Even if you're sleeping 8 hours, but then you're sleeping past midnight and you're getting 8 hours of sleep, that's to the best of my recollection, I don't think that's really part of a sleeping habit when you're um, sleeping past the healthy hour already. So, if correct me if I'm wrong, Debbie, Cynthia, on that.
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
and one of the things really that I get a lot of reminders from my mother is that regardless of what I do, she keeps telling me there are two rules in sleeping right is getting that 7-8 hours in, and make sure I sleep at a healthy time, because our body um, gets to heal. It heals at the appropriate time. I think it's past 10 o'clock at night. If you pass that time frame, you're losing, the capability of healing, uh, you know, getting your body to heal up at the right time. And that's the reason why that, you know, the sleeping the healthy sleeping pattern rather is for two important things: is at the right time, and of course getting that 7-8 hours in. Anybody wants to add more to it, please feel free to unmute.
So, how does sleep help to prevent heart disease? So definitely when we sleep, so during sleep, our blood pressure naturally decreases. And so it gives the heart and the blood vessels rest. So chronic sleep deprivation, can lead to constant high blood pressure, and this increases the risk for heart disease. So I just wanted to add that. And we know that poor sleep can increase levels of inflammatory markers in the body, which are linked to, a plaque that can build up in the heart or atherosclerosis and other cardiovascular problems. So definitely getting sleep is so, so important to our cardiac health.
Thank you, Dr. Debbie. Okay, so for March, we talked about multiple myeloma, and we had Gary Crawley, and he shared about his personal experience that he didn't even, so he was a person that didn't smoke, he doesn't drink, he lived a healthy lifestyle, he had healthy sleeping habits, he was always active, um, but then at the most unexpected event, when he was just considering to just add another life insurance, when he went ahead and completed those series of tests requirement, everything just turned upside down for him, learning about um, that he was diagnosed with multiple myeloma. So he shared as to even he tried to live a healthy lifestyle. We'll never know when it really hits at times. So continuing to focus overall health, um, and the most commonly brought up tips is balanced diet, regular exercise, and sleeping uh, sleeping at the right time and sleeping with the number of with the right amount of sleep. It boosts your immune system. It improves your stress management. And so regular checkup is also something that needs to be part of your routine as well, to make sure that you have everything um, under control. And there are at times that things might not may go out of control, but it is good that having that support system, and especially with regular checkups, you have your physician to guide you as well. So um, I'm not sure if anybody has recalled for this particular topic in March, but anybody that wants to share a little bit on your experience, or any feedback when we talked about this particular topic in March.
So, so this is Cynthia. This is, I don't want to say my favorite subject, but I worked in heme a lot. So we know that African American males are susceptible to multiple myeloma, and we know that it is a disease, sometimes is based on the environment. So when I say environment, it's the environment that we work in. Are we a bus driver? Have we been in the military? Have we been exposed to pesticides, right? I just had a friend actually die of multiple myeloma about 2 years ago, and it's very insidious, meaning that sometimes you go to the doctor, your RBCs is fine, and all of a sudden you go and it's just really rampant and it's taken over, right? The best thing you can do is absolutely go to your doctor and have your checkups, right? So, and when we say checkups, we want to make sure that they're checking CBC, labs, chemistry, all those areas. And then we want to talk about, what is the history of your family? Has anybody in your family had history? And when we talk about clinical trials, multiple myeloma, we talk about this is related to one another. Is there anything that we can study that maybe my uncle had multiple myeloma and I didn't know it? My sister had multiple myeloma. Although it's not a hereditary disease, is there some type of association? Is there that gene that has that association that some people have multiple myeloma, some people don't? These are the things that we study especially this disease here, is very high in African Americans. Maryland has one of the highest rates of multiple myeloma in the 50 states. And second behind that is North Carolina.
Mhm.
And
Thank
so
you for
for
that.
those two states, is there a particular justification why they're so high?
Well, one of the things we have to look at, there's a lot of radiation that had been going on in the area, right? There is, you see, when we test the soil, we test the water. North Carolina, same way, it's a lot of tobacco, it's a lot of industry. Like, even if I drive the bus, if I'm a bus driver, guess what I'm exposed to every day? Fumes, right? You wouldn't believe it, but when you start looking at occupation and you start looking at, is there association, right? Is there association with the environment? Is there association with pesticides? Is there association with our jobs? Think about the people that park the cars all day long in the parking lot. Think about the workers that work in the taking your money for the car lots. What are they exposed to all the time? And then why does it affect African Americans 4 times as high? This is data that we need to study and kind of get our head wrapped around it, but no one really knows why is in more in one state than the other. And those are some of the things we can study. And there are ongoing studies looking at that right
Can
now.
so hello everybody. Thank you for letting me butt in here.
Hi.
I got off my other call. I thank you for that excellent report of it, Cynthia, and thank you, Japs, for your leadership and giving honor to all of you here. Thank you for contributing in yourself and your community, raising your knowledge and awareness. I just want to comment on what Cynthia was talking about there as it relates to the literal effort that we are doing for ourselves. And that include uncovering things that other people may not deem as important or as a priority. So when we see that around the country, there are there are a lot of places that may have some environmental things that impact our health. What efforts are being done to uncover those things, and then what efforts are being done to support the people who are living in environments who are subject to that. This is an example of the kind of work we do for ourselves. And I keep using that ourselves because all the work that we're doing, we really want people to understand it's not just prescribed to you. This is an example of our people stepping up and being engaged in our health and our wellness. So to what Cynthia was speaking to, in addition to the other types of work we do in supporting people, we will engage in population health research. This is an example of that, where you do surveys and dig a little deeper within communities and states to understand what those risk factors are of our people. So yes, we'll be looking at large populous areas of Black and African American, both in rural and urban environments, to understand what risk we're subject to, and actually publishing that and making public so we can have the material and the defense and the knowledge so that some of us may choose, if we can, to move an environment that works for us.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mark. And thank you, Cynthia. So, moving on for April, we talked about immune system related illnesses or lupus. And we had Ashley Hayes, who shared her personal experience um, with lupus itself. So, we all know that um, for lupus, it attacks your immune system. And when you live with lupus, it involves you maintaining a healthy balance, as lupus is an autoimmune condition where the immune system is overactive. Focus on eating a nutrient rich diet, staying physically active, managing stress, and getting enough sleep to support overall health. Always consult your doctor before trying immune boosting supplements, as some may interfere with lupus treatments or trigger flares. And to what I recall, when Ashley she shared, the struggles of living with lupus. countless or endless doctor's visits for her, different trials on different types of treatments for her as well. Um, and since she had lupus since she was since she was a younger child, so I know it wasn't easy for her, but she actually kept going on a daily basis, eating healthy, maintaining that healthy lifestyle for her to be able to continue and fight um, that type of that type of immune autoimmune condition for her. So, um, would anybody would like to share anything for this particular topic?
I'm just gonna add, so it's Debbie, so definitely, in addition to everything you say, we know that lupus, it's a chronic disease, but a lot of and usually we see in this population, they're struggling mentally, right? So mental health issues is something that, depression, they have anxiety, feeling of isolation, so this can be commonly due to the chronic nature of lupus and the impact on their quality of life. So definitely addressing that emotional state, like seeking consultation and therapy to address that, joining support groups to connect with others to understand what their experience is and how they're working through that. And then engaging in stress reducing practices like meditation and journaling. Those seem to help, manage those emotional struggles that we see with this type of chronic disease, particularly with so much fatigue and pain and everything else. So
Mhm.
just to keep in mind the mental health of this population as well.
Thank you, Debbie. And
And
I,
Debbie, you're
I,
spot on with that.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Cynthia.
I said, Debbie, she's spot on with that because remember, some of the drugs that we give for this disease causes that mental illness as well. Sometimes it is the drugs that we give our patients. Like sometimes they're on high dose steroids if they have a flare, right? Sometimes they're on prednisone taper. Some newer drugs cause this type of depression. So you're spot on. When we think about the trajectory of lupus, we have to look at the whole cycle of it, right? And mental illness is a huge part of this because they're bouncing from drug to drug. They're trying newer drugs, older drugs. They're adding that combination. And so when you take care of that holistic person, you're exactly right. Mental health was definitely one of the things that I saw with patients with lupus. And then some of them struggle with weight gain, right? Because of the drugs that they're on. So eating healthy is extremely important.
Yes, and I really admire Ashley for being strong, not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally. She has continued to share her experience with other groups in helping um, other people with related experience, and that way she can also help support them and and vice versa. Belinda, do you want to share something?
Yeah, just to add, even though for each of the illnesses or disorders that we've spoken about, and we talk about diet and physical activity and managing stress, for every person who has to go through that, there's a caregiver who has to go through it as well. And so when the individual's going through that, it's extremely important that the caregiver is involved in, whatever physical support, whatever information's being given about diet and exercise. That's an important part of what the caregiver needs to give as well. So whatever illness and whatever disease you come down with, um, there's got to be somebody there to support you and to back you. And so we need to make sure that the caregiver is kept just as healthy.
Yep.
Totally agree, Belinda. That is spot on as well. We as we educate ourselves, we have to educate our caregivers. They are a very important part of our health journey, as I say.
Yes, I totally agree. So moving on, for the month of June, we talked about mind, body, and soul aging gracefully. And I believe we have Teresa today, and she shared, during this time, she talked about how how you can enjoy um, that quality of life even as you aged. And that is basically still the top three things that are commonly talked about is eating right, sleeping right, and exercise. She also shared um, a breakfast that she does, an overnight oats, and I kind of put that on here for everybody to have. Um, she shared that she normally prepares this overnight, and it's ready to eat in the morning for her. Teresa, if you don't mind coming off mute, would you like to share a little bit for on this topic?
Well, you did a great job putting it all in a in a nutshell. So aging should be no different than everyday living, right? So we need to make sure, like you said, to sleep well. And I know someone spoke about that earlier in the proper sleep habits. That's a big one. And one thing I wanted to add about sleeping is that, you know, if you know, you know, eating, when you eat, be mindful of what time you eat at night in relation to the time you go to sleep. Because what happens with that one is that your heart rate is tends to be higher when you're digesting your food, right? So if you eat and then go directly to sleep, then your body has to first digest all of that food and then get into all the proper stages that it needs to. Your body gets into all those proper stages. So eating late can directly impact your quality of sleep. I just wanted to add that. And also drinking alcohol um, late at night, also it has the same effect.
Thank you, thank you. Anybody else who wants to add to that? Anybody who wants to share their experience? No?
I'm
I
gonna
have a
share
question. Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I'm going to share my experience with
Mhm.
a friend of mine, her mother. She's in her 90s and she's still active. And all of this, you did a great, wonderful presentation. I love how you put everything else. Definitely staying mentally, having mental agility, like staying mentally,
Mhm.
your mind going and staying active and, being connected is so important. So stimulating that cognitivity, because once we stop doing something as we age, then it becomes a challenge. I feel that we continue to just move into the shadows. Like you stop driving, you lose your independence, you lose, your ability to your motility, which is important in staying sometimes physically fit. And then staying a lifelong learner, you get older people in their 90s still computer savvy. I mean, they're on those computers and they're doing so just making sure that we stay lifelong learners, stay active and stimulate that mind and as well as the body. It's so important as we age.
That's right. That's right.
thank you for that. And Belinda, did you want to ask a question?
No, no, the statement that was just made kind of support what I was going to say.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. And moving on to the next topic. And again, this is a copy that everybody will get, and
Mhm.
you may share it to everybody else as well. Um, and that way we can share this type of blessing of information that we have gathered all over the last couple months for this year. So, and I will be sharing that with you through email. That way you can easily share it with a link or with the PDF copies of this file, okay? So for July, we talked about change can be hard but necessary for healthy outcomes. And we had Greg Falcon for this topic. And he shared about that turning point for him as well. Um, he shared his unhealthy choices on food, you know, the fast foods, the sodas. And I would honestly say this was also the topic wherein I started feeling conscious on what I eat because I didn't want to. I had a lot of unhealthy habits as well in the past, and me and my husband used to drink a lot of sodas. Fast food was more of you know comfort food for us, and it was easily available rather than cooking. So this was a turning point for me as well. And I can remember because Greg shared his turning point wherein he he had to go through some medical treatment to be able to switch his health around. And I didn't want to wait until that happens, until I get badly sick before I do something. So I want to do something now and make that change. That way I can teach that to my children on what not to eat and what to eat. Um, because I think that is one of the purpose of being a parent, and that is to teach our children as early as now on making those healthy choices, not just with school, not just with, as they grow on what type of, in guiding them on what to do career wise, but also in making healthy choices with food and with in doing healthy habits, I would say. And he shared more about the type of oils that are healthy, oils like the extra virgin coconut oil, olive oil rather, and then coconut oil is also one of the things that are healthy. Avocado oil is one of them too. um, he also makes a habit in making sure that he drinks that beet. If you can remember, um, he would grind up beet with ginger and lemon. I did that as soon as he shared that, I started doing that on a daily basis. Since July, I also started doing my 12-hour intermittent fasting. And then as of today, I am now at 16-hour intermittent fasting. So I wait up to 16 hours before I consume my first meal. I also have been drinking the beets with ginger and lemon every morning, and I would say it has done tremendously um, a lot of change. And one of them is normally complain back problems and frequent migraines, and in a span of 3 to 4 weeks, that was totally gone. And I would say I share that with my family, with my husband, and I would say that has done tremendously a lot for us. So that's my testimony for one of Ari's session, that this has really done a lot of things for me and my family.
That's amazing. Thanks for sharing that. That's absolutely incredible.
Thank you, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So anybody wants to share Um, any questions?
Mm-mm.
No? Okay. So moving on. So I did share this. Greg shared berry and beet smoothie. So I have added that here. It's for everybody to enjoy. You will see the types of the different types of recipes here in the next other pages as well. You can put in chia seeds. You can put avocado, almond milk, and a half teaspoon of honey. As you go through the other recipes, you can also enjoy different types of. So I added a shopping list here for everybody. Some just ideas on the types of vegetables, the types of fruits. Um, I would say the most healthy fruits are the berries, strawberries, the blueberries, blackberries, and I did also some research. So each session that was shared here for this year, so I came up with my own list, and this is something that I found on the internet that I also have added on the PDF file for everybody to
Okay, good,
enjoy,
good.
and some nuts and those healthy nuts that you can also snack on. So feel free to read on these. Another thing that I've added here is a sample weekly meal plan. One of the struggles that I kind of am trying to figure out is what do I prepare again for next week? I tried pre-planning my food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but sometimes I ran out of ideas. So this is something that I want to share that might help you guys or might help your friends and family get started if they want, those that want to eat healthy, keeping up with a very busy schedule. Sometimes we just ran out of time to prepare each day. So it's good that prepping meals, some are easy to prepare, that doesn't really require a lot of ingredients, not a lot of time in preparation in cooking. So this might be a good thing to that you can share with everybody. So there are more recipes here that you can look. This is something that I also have gotten from choosemyplate.gov, wherein you can print this page out and you can start writing some ideas on how you can prepare your weekly meal plan and some more tips for you as to how you can eat healthy and have an active lifestyle, healthy lifestyle, how you maximize your nutrients, um, how to get more energy, um, get more protein, drink lots of water, and how you can make sure that your proportions are appropriate. Not too much on not too much on fruits because fruits are also they also have glucose. Make sure that you have your vegetables on there together with your proteins and whole grains. So another added page on here is how that you can eat well by staying on a budget. I know nowadays $100 isn't that much in the groceries, but this will give you a little bit of idea as to how you can still eat healthy without sacrificing um, your budget on a weekly basis. So there's more information on here, and I'm just going through each pages here. But you will have a copy of these. That way you'll be able to read and you'll be able to share with your family and friends. So moving on for the next topic, in September, we talked about cancer prevention, and our guest speaker is Cynthia Thompson, who talked about how to prevent cancer. She also shared about the early detection is always to get better outcomes. She shared, the age brackets on the recommended ages for each type of screenings for everybody. Um, Cynthia, would you like to share about this topic?
Again, one of my favorite topics.
Yes, yes.
So early detection and early diagnosis. And we just have to teach our younger generation that it is very important to get things like pap smears, and whether you believe in vaccines or not, you still need to get a pap smear. Some cancers are preventable. We need to also talk about early screening for breast cancer. And pretty much, you know, going to the doctor stresses people out. It probably stresses me out too as well, but we just need to find ways to cope and deal with what's needed for our body and what's preventable. And just like we talk about healthy eating, let's talk about ways to prevent early detection of cancer, right? And so this is a conversation we can have, especially like I have a 22-year-old. She said, Mom, I would never know when to go to the doctor to have my regular checkup if you didn't tell me, right? So we need to spread this word. We need to talk to our individuals about prostate cancer, which is huge in our community, and also breast cancer. Then we need to talk about lung cancer. If you're a smoker, you've been smoking more for 20 years, now you can get a CT scan free. So there's many topics to talk about, but early detection and prevention is the way we need to go. And Debbie, I know you have a lot on this as well.
I mean, Cynthia, I think you said it, you presented all, all the information quite clearly. I mean, some key takeaways, definitely, like you said, prevention is the key. I mean, while we cannot prevent all cancers, but healthy lifestyle choices, including, again, we talked about balancing diet, regular physical activities, avoiding certain carcinogenous factors like cigarette smoking or tobacco, exercising, I mean, limiting our alcohol, minimizing exposure to a lot of harmful chemicals. I mean, this can significantly reduce a lot of, our cancer risks, and definitely early detection is so important. So regular screenings and being aware of when to have those, and knowing what our personal risk factors are, these are some essential things in catching cancer early. Particularly when we're looking at treatment. We know that treatment is more effective when we can, catch these things really early. So we need to follow the recommended screening guidelines like you presented so eloquently. And I think those are some key information that we need to take with us.
Yes, Belinda.
Um, women are more apt to go to the doctor and to get all of the checkups in most cases. But I've had a few conversations with some male friends of mine, and their thing is always that they don't want to go through all of the tests. If there's something going on in their body, they can find it in blood work. So they believe that doing blood work is the answer for everything. And I know you can find some things in the blood work, but a lot of things need to have more direct attention. And so I think it's incumbent upon us to try to get our Black men to realize that just getting blood work is not the solution to everything. And I've had that conversation with several friends of mine, and they're adamant, I'm not going to have them poking and prying and doing this, let them find it in the blood work. And I'm trying to explain, you need more than just blood work to find things. So.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But that's when we talk about late diagnosis, because no one has been into a doctor's office and had a proper exam, right? No one has been in the doctor's office to have colonoscopy. There's look, listen, and feel. It's my favorite words, right? You look for something, you listen, you feel. You sometimes you can't get that from blood tests, right? We don't know whether we have colon cancer from a blood test, right?
Right,
We
exactly.
don't know whether we have stage 4 prostate cancer. We know a PSA is rising, but what if, I went in earlier? What could I have done differently,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So we're absolutely right. We do struggle with males going to the doctor, but it's continuing education. It's just like
Mhm.
make people aware. Hey, I
Yeah.
went to the doctor, and you know the great thing about healthcare is that we need to learn how to talk about how do we get that information to someone else, like our male partners, like our male friends, and not make them feel afraid or intimidated, right? Because maybe the physician doesn't look like them. What
Mhm.
questions do I need to ask, right? That's why
Mhm.
we have this group session so that we can ask the appropriate questions, so we can be informed, so we can look, listen, and feel, right? So when
Mhm.
I go, I'm armed with the data that I need to ask my doctor these questions.
I like what you said, both of you. I know sometimes male, not only male, people in general, specifically our African Americans, have some misconceptions or some myths,
Mhm.
about screening. So, addressing a lot of these common misconceptions about screening or healthcare
Mhm.
in general would help. For example, some men may believe that screening is unnecessary, or if they feel fine, that they are invincible or that they don't have to
Mhm.
go. So addressing a lot of these misconceptions, would help, clarify things, or encourage them, definitely in early prevention and, identifying things if it does occur, really early, or encourage them to go, for screening.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Debbie, Cynthia, and Belinda. So part of I also have attached the table guide on the screening, the type of screenings, together with the recommended ages on there, um, together with a table that you can also fill out with the last exam date and the next exam date that you can also write on, together with knowing more about your family history. So feel free to print this particular page. That way you can also, fill out at your convenient time. So moving on for October, related to what we talked about the prior month, what we talked about, did you schedule those screenings? And we had Cynthia Thompson and Dr. Debbie Zabo, um, and they talked about, we make sure to start scheduling those screenings. Again, early detection can make a significant difference. And they also shared a lot of organizations offering free screenings. One particular as well that they talked about was making sure that we use or we utilize the MyChart app, because it also provides a lot of features in which you're able to set appointments. You can view your test results even at an earlier time, and you're able to message your physician and even view all your medication list and request all your prescription refills through the MyChart app. Um, when you do your doctor's visits, they also shared that it is very important for you to write down your questions prior to your visit in order for you to thoroughly discuss all of these, um, during your, when you come see your doctor. That way, when you leave the clinic, you feel satisfied that you have all of your questions answered for, and that you'll be able to at least schedule the next appointment for other sets of questions. And I'm not sure if Debbie or Cynthia would want to add more to that, but um, feel free to add more information if you have anything, Debbie or Cynthia.
Well, definitely, like you said, making sure that we are definitely scheduling our screenings, and sometimes we forget, but you have your healthcare providers. You can reach out to your doctors or your local healthcare facilities to schedule, or if you're in there, for you to ask them, what should I be screening for at this time? So that they can recommend, when should you have your mammograms, your colonoscopy, your prostate exam. So if you're unsure, then you could definitely, ask your providers about the age, family, they take those age, family history, and lifestyle information, and they could tell you what your risks are and how important it is to definitely get those screening. Um, and then all the tools that you can have that would help you, like, your my chart. So using, online scheduling tools definitely help you stay on track of those screening appointments. And then again, some people they can't afford the affordability, if out there, but there are support, healthcare clinics. So you can go and check out your local community health centers, or they have mobile health units, that may offer lower costs for screening, and particularly in the underserved areas where they have some free mobile vans. So those are some things that we talk about. We also talked about I know Cynthia mentioned it a lot about the health departments. Many local and state health departments offer screening for cancer, diabetes, and all the other screenings. So those are some things that, they have community programs as well. And so we mentioned those as well. Cynthia, I know you want to add
I mean,
something.
I think you said it a lot. One of the things that I tend to do, and I used to tell my patients, is that I get all my screening done close to my birthday, right? So mine is November, which is good because I've made that my copay. So I just schedule it there because I remember my birthday, and so I'll say, okay, let's schedule my physical. But the other thing I forgot to add in here, if you know a male that's or female that's been in the military more than 3 years, keep in mind they have the VA benefits, and those VA benefits is free. So we want to take advantage of that. And I don't think I mentioned that, but certainly we have plenty of people that have served in the military but did not complete 20 years, but they are still eligible for care. So when we're talking to individuals about this, if they've served in the military for 3 years, they get full VA benefits. And I don't think I mentioned that the last time, but I just thought about
No, but thank you for sharing that, Cynthia. And if I may add, during this time, I did went to schedule some of my screenings, and I want to share that I was diagnosed with as a pre-diabetic. So, um, but I kind of, although I started, eating healthy back in July, and then in October, I went and did my screenings and tests. I got diagnosed as pre-diabetic, and I am still, doing my regular checkups. I'm eating healthier now. I've not had any soda for 5 months. So I stay away with sugar. I make sure I have that vegetable. I eat the the berries and most of the berries, and I do that beet in the morning with ginger and lemon, and I do the fasting every day. So again, this the monthly session with Ari is like a guide for me on how to stay healthy and how to not lose sight on the healthy lifestyle, because it's like a constant reminder for me that no matter how stressful life can be, you'll never know that things get out of control in our personal life, and sometimes I go back to like eating unhealthy stuff again. But you know, this has been this has been a great resource for me as to how I can stay healthy and how I can keep track of what I do on a daily basis and be accountable for it on a daily basis. So again, thank you for sharing all your expertise, because I'm also one of those people that are also constantly note taking and you know taking it by heart to make that lifestyle change for myself.
So, Japs,
Yes.
for your intermittent fasting, is that something that you discussed with your doctor first? Because you have to be careful about
Mhm.
different plans for different people. And so,
Yes.
did you and your doctor have that discussion to determine if it would work for you?
Yes, so
Okay.
one of the doctors that I see now is my gastro doctor, and I discussed that with him, and he agrees that fasting can be one of the ways for me to be able um, to at least because they also diagnosed me with fatty liver, so one of the things that can help is to do that intermittent
Okay.
fasting, which he agrees, yes.
Okay.
Dabs, I have a question. You talked about the beets, lemon, and ginger drink. Could you give me the proportion of each of those in your drinks?
Uh, just one whole beet for me, and then I don't really have a proper proportion. I just buy like half a pound of that ginger root. It will depend on how strong you want the ginger to be. But for me, I like that ginger root really strong in my drink and a little bit of lemon. Sometimes I would do just one whole lemon on there, and I grind it up all together, and I put like a 500 ml, one bottle basically of water, and
Mhm.
it would make me uh, a, like one pitcher of drink,
Okay,
and that will last for at least four 4 days, 5 days for me.
thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so last but not the least, for November, we talked about, are you aware what the holiday festivities may do to our lab results? And this was a reminder in advance prior to the holiday festivities, to make sure that we still enjoy our holidays, um, and still um, try to enjoy the food that we eat, but in the more healthy way. What are those healthy options? Like, instead of using regular sugar, maybe we can just use honey, or pure honey rather, um, and then use those healthy oils, avocado oil, maybe coconut oil, and depending on what you're making, staying away from those high cholesterol, high sugary food, and limit our caffeine and even our alcohol intake during the holidays. Um, so I know Christmas is around the corner. We sure are already have made preparations or plans for our festivities, but we want to make sure that we are carefully reminded on, we can enjoy our holidays without eating the unhealthy foods and drinks. So anybody who wants to share, wants to have any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I'm going to be a little funny about this. I bought a sign the other day that says holiday calories don't count.
Well, maybe you can take a picture of that and share it with us, Belinda. But this is actually the end of the slides, and I know that we went over. I appreciate everybody's patience and for making the time and being here, and for I appreciate especially for those um, uh, Debbie, Cynthia, Teresa, Mark, Alicia, and everybody else that have shared uh, their personal experience and their expertise in these topics. Um, I want to thank you personally on behalf of Lisa and on behalf of the entire ARI organization in making the 2024 a success. And we look forward to, going through more healthy topics again for 2025. And just a quick reminder that starting next year, January 2025, we will now meet every Tuesdays, fourth Tuesday of the month, and not Wednesdays, just to let everybody know.
Thank you very much. Happy holidays.
And thank
Thank,
you. Happy
thank you,
holidays,
happy
everyone.
holidays,
And
everybody, and
Happy
thank you.
holidays.
thank you, Jasper, and everybody who's helped put these together. They've been
Yeah,
very helpful.
yeah.
Thank you, and I'll just keep an eye out on the email, and I'll be forwarding these copies to everybody.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.